What's up, Vanguardians? This is Jonathan SP Midnam, here with a very special video. I generally don't do too many of these. I've kind of been doing a few more just because I've been asked or people ask my opinions on things. And today I'm going to do a deck profile, if you haven't already been able to see it, of Narukami, which, not just any normal Narukami. I'm actually going to be doing a Brawler deck profile for Post Fighters Collection 2015. I've been playing this deck. I love Brawlers. I think Brawlers was really great for the Narukami clan just because of their massive ability to really constrict more than one unit at a time, and it really creates an interesting gameplay. Most decks really require fields, so having the ability to wipe the field is really good. So it burns hand, it also burns guard. They do a lot of aggressive play and also get a great deal of power. So what I want to do is just go over what I've been running and testing and playing with, and we'll see what happens. Again, this is a deck I think I'll probably be running for States ARG that's coming up, and probably be playing casually at my locals, but this definitely is a lot of fun, and it's a great deck. So our starter is, of course, Spark Kid Dragoon. This card I like for several reasons. One, because it helps you find the grade 3s that are obviously essential to the Brawler deck, but also helps fill the soul, which I've played around with this a little bit, and I've gone back and forth with a couple of people on the arguments of soul in this deck and running certain cards, and I really feel best starter for Brawlers right now. Just really helps get that grade 3. It's an 8 crit deck. We'll run, again, it doesn't matter really with Brawlers right now because they're essentially not a special counterblast. Only one unit is, and that's not a unit we'll focus on. So I run 4 him. I run 4 Malevolent Jin. Because again, look what you do. You put him in the soul, you give him 3,000 for an attack. One of your units. So until the end of turn. Really good if you need to get like over the 9k attack point, so it makes it 12. For heal, of course, we'll do the Brawler because it's just super cute. And I played this one in honor of my friend Gage because Suspicious Din, or what came out as like Din of Paranoia. It's a fun card. Just look at it. It's the genie from Aladdin. So it's really, really cool. So it's basically 8 crit, 4 draw, 4 heal, and of course grade 3 searcher. Pretty basic, but overall the real star here is for the soul is Malevolent Jin, the Jin. Next are grade 1s. Of course, 4 perfect guard. Now here's the thing, guys. Japan has been running a lot of the unflippers because the things are kind of restricted over there. I right now in my current deck run gold, but I like the unflip. It's just, with 4 Laurel being out there and Dote still being very popular, it might be just easier to go with the 4 regular perfect guards over the unflips. Again, regular, you can run any of them. You don't have to run the Eradicator. Just 4 perfect guard, but again, it's kind of preference. But remember, the unflippers are really good because you get that extra unflip. But again, Narukami Brawlers really don't do a whole lot of counterblast as it is. So this again is just a decent card. Right now I run 4 Mighty Bolt Dragoon. The Stride Fighter card, pretty basic. This deck you can stride quite a bit, and you don't need to use your grade 3s unless you absolutely want to, or you can use them as a booster. Obviously can't do the Vanquisher search just because this deck doesn't focus around it, so it could either again become a really good booster or Stride Fodder, whichever one. 4 Wyvern Strike Pigman. Basically, it's a grade 1. When this unit is Generation Break 1, it gains 4,000 when it attacks, making it 11k. I like this card a lot. It can only attack Vanguard. It can't attack Rear Guard, so that's not a huge drawback. But again, if you're 11 attacking and boosted, let's say by a 5k or lower, or 5k or 5 or 6 or 5 or 7 in this deck, you know you're hitting a number at least, which is really nice. So, but this 2 in the later game, if you run out of grade 2s, having him in the front row, I'll show you why, again, is really good because it hits the magical number of 11, which is ideally what you always want to go for. And then 2 Rising Phoenix. Again, I debated going back and so much with this card for the soul fat concept, and I think this card is just a classic in most Narukami decks. 2 of it is fine. Japan runs a lot, like usually 3 or 4. I don't see why. I don't think you can get that much soul So this is idealistically at 2, and it's just, again, a really good card. Again, to create 5k base, you put that behind this guy, making it 16 on a turn, hitting those magical numbers. Grade 2s. This is where the fun of my deck is. Like, I've been playing around with this a lot. The Legion mates for both of the Brawlers. We got Big Bang Slash Dragon. It's basically a 12k attacker if the Vanguard hits. Multiple attacks, it stacks. Again, it does stack. Every time your Vanguard attack hits, you gain 3,000. So if your Vanguard attacks 4 units, it gains 12,000 if it hits. Same thing with Big Bang Slash Buster. But this one, if you have Big Bang Knuckle, it automatically becomes an 11. Again, hitting a magical number. And of course, if it Vanguard hits, it gains 3,000 in the attack phase. So this really, again, if one attack hits and you have a Big Bang Knuckle, it becomes 15 on its own, or 14 on its own. Really good in the respect of, if there was a cross ride, I guess, meta. And also, again, it hits kind of like a 9 5k guard. It's there, like, so you're making another good thing going forward on a 9k Vanguard. So your opponent's 9k, so you're allowing it to, again, having to guard for 10k rather than a 5. 2 Brawler Sky Hall Dragon. I was always a fan of this card when Brawlers first came out. I mean, for Counterblast, you can tire something in the front row. All you have to do is Brawler Vanguard, which, again, at this point when you can play him, everything is Brawler except for the next card, which is Shatora, but we're going to go back to Sky Hall. So everything is basically a Brawler from a certain point on. And this card's really good to remove the front row, which, again, I'll show you why a little bit. There's a lot of Conquest Dragon plays a huge part in having this card in there, and also having cards like Wyvern Strike. So they benefit having Conquest as the Vanguard for a little bit. I'll show you why. And then last is Shatora, which this card is so good. This was printed as a common in the set that it came out in Generation Break 2, the set. And it's really funny because it gains 3,000 during the attack phase, or during your turn technically. And when it attacks the Vanguard, it also, if it hits, you get to draw a card and choose one of your opponent's cards in the drop zone and bind it face up. So it's anti-Legion, which is really good. You can play it again on turn 2. You can go in for 11. Like, it's really good. Again, it can only attack the Vanguard, but again, at that point in the game, that's really what you want. You want the Vanguard attacks. And of course, it becomes 11, which I can't stress enough, which is like the beautiful number in the game right now. Like, 11 is the number. And again, like most units, again, are going to be Brawlers, so having 2 Sky Hall is really good. And going into the grade 3s, of course, we have 4 Big Bang Knuckle Dragon. This is the only one that requires Brawler cards for its effect. Again, you really shouldn't be running this card and trying to get the effect off. Like, this is like, if you have to ride it, yeah, it's bad, but keep striding and doing the other effects. Overall, this is just a really decent staple card just to have, so you can get the next guy's effect off, which is Big Bang Knuckle Buster, which is the card you really want, because it says if there's Big Bang Knuckle Dragon in the soul, it gains 2,000, so becoming a 13, which again is really unheard of it right now in our meta, like having a 13k base. It's not too many decks do it. And Brawlers are definitely one of them that will be seen a lot. And I definitely think it's a great card because Counterblast 1, choose a card name with Big Bang Knuckle, put it from your hand to your soul, into the soul. When you Legion, or if you're in Legion, and then you gain 5,000 and the ability to attack 4 units all in once in one attack. Super, super, super good, guys, because what that basically does is it throws the effects of the mates off. It allows them to gain the power. Again, it's basically doing a somewhat field wipe, and it's if your opponent only has 3 units in the field, you can attack 3 units and not 4. Like, resolve as much of the effect as possible, and this is so good because just the ability to field wipe with little to no effort is, for a counterblast. And yes, you have to have a grade 3, but again, like we've shown you, there's ways to get the grade 3s in hand super early on. With the grade 3 searcher, you can constantly keep filling your soul, the soul blast with Rising Phoenix to try to get them. And if you go into stride mode, you're going to eventually start drive checking some grade 3s, which is where we go next. And we have the card coming out in Fighters Collection in June 19th, which is True Brawler Big Bang Turbo, one of my favorite cards. It's being printed generation rare in there. Like, its art is very beautiful. Like, this is exactly what Brawler's needed for a stride unit, because it says if you have a heart with Big Bang Knuckle in its name until the end of turn, this unit gets continuous. When this unit would choose a unit to attack, choose 3 of your opponent's units for each heart, your heart cards instead. So if you have a Legion, any one of these, it's both 2, so you would get for each unit in the heart. So basically, you could choose 6 units, and it battles all this chosen unit in 1 attack, and it gains 5,000 for each face-up True Ball or Big Bang Knuckle Turbo. So basically, you ride him, you counterblast, you turn one of him up, he gets 5,000 automatically. So if he's 26, he now becomes a 31. Again, a number that is pretty relevant in the meta. And then, of course, it'll attack 3 units. A lot of times I like to go for the starter if I get to go stride first. A lot of times that's really good in certain decks, especially in the generation stuff that require you to be at generation 1 and you can't do it just yet, or even Judge Bow. I see a lot of people protect Judge Bow in Shadow decks over the Vanguard. Now, that could be the right way, could be the wrong way, depends on how aggressive your rush is, but you know, it makes people do stupid things. You'd be surprised. I like when people make stupid plays to do things, and again, this does require Soul Blast, so that's why we run the Soul Chargers. Yeah, it might counteract a little bit with Rising Phoenix, but your odds of doing Rising Phoenix twice in a game is little. I mean, it could work, but again, you're going to spend more time. You're going to get one early game, one late game, probably. And then the other one is Conquest, Supreme Conquering Dragon, Conquest Dragon. Love the double dragon in there. This card's pretty basic, and it'll be a staple for a lot of Narukami decks. It says if you have 2 or more in your choose a card, Supreme Conquest, turn it face up, and the number of face-up cards you use, choose more. Choose one of your rear guards in the front row. Choose one of your opponent's rear guards in the front row. Retire it, and until the end of turn, all units in the front row get 5,000 for each open rear guard in your opponent's front row. This is really good. Because if they have a front row of 0, other than Vanguard, every unit in your front row will gain 5,000 for each open. So 10,000 across the board in the front. And, you know, it's really good because everything in this deck essentially will hit for huge numbers. And what I like about Conquest is you've been Generation Break 2 here. So what'll have been happening is cards like Chitoro will become 21. These will become 19. Well, he'll become 21. Skyhall will help fuel Conquest, so you get that 10k, because if you can call him, let's say they have a front row and you can only retire one with Conquest, you use Skyhall to retire the other one. So naturally then they'll become 19. He'll become 19. Your others 2 will gain additional 10,000. But he, again, will help kind of keep Conquest's front row ability, so you can maximize it. And again, if you had to, you can call a Wyvern Strike to the front, and again, because it gains 4,000 when it attacks, it'll also gain that 10,000 and making it, again, 21. So huge numbers to deal with. Your opponent has a lot to guard, or has a lot to guard with when you have a Conquest out there. And Conquest is really just a pure beatdown and retire concept. So super efficient, super good. That is what I've been running right now. I wonder what people say. When I did the Silverthorn deck profile, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, you don't run stands!" And I'm like, again, I come from a very different ideology of game way playing. Like, stands are great, but there's so much now that locks, destroys, retires. Like, I think you gotta go for the aggressive push every turn now. Like, aggro is the one way to go with this game right now, and I feel Brawlers do that, and something like Conquest just makes it unforgiving for your opponent to not have a front row, which, again, as you can see, it pretty much alleviates and takes care of that. Even gaining 5,000 in the entire front row, that's like an extra trigger every time on your rear guard, so something your opponent has to deal with. Let me know what you guys think. I'm excited. Like I said, I'm going to be testing this a lot more. It's probably not the final build, but definitely is what I'll be sticking to for the most part. And I'll be taking to ARG State Champions ship just because of Turbo being so good, and I don't really like Shadow Paladins. So let me know what you guys think. If you have not subscribed, please do so. Like, comment, and tell me more things you'd like to see. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good one.